What's up everyone? Many of my videos originate from questions during streams, so today I want to answer one of these questions and tell you about the most difficult as well as the simplest agents, placing them in descending order. I think for many it will be useful when choosing the next agent to unlock, and in general if you want to change your main agent, this video will also be useful for you. I would like to start with the fact that initially in any case you only have 5 agents opened, so which one you need to choose at the beginning. And in fact I can tell you there is no difference, since in any case you need to understand how the skills of all agents work. You can even play on every agent in circle. But who should you open first? To answer this question, let's move from the end, and I ask you to pay attention that this is not a tier list of all agents. This is exactly the sorting of agents by the complexity of their execution, so to speak. And let's start with Yoru and Harbor. You cannot consider them at all in the near future. They're simply useless right now. Yoru itself is firstly hard agent, and secondly, even those who play with Yoru a lot do not always give much benefit. But here it is the fact that this is not the agent that will help you to get acquainted with the game. And well, Harbor, he just came out unsuccessful, so forget about these two for now. Exactly like Neon. Firstly, it is too difficult in macro, and secondly, if you want to play on Neon, you need to feel the movements in the game very well, because you will need to move on Neon a lot. Plus you need a good understanding of timings, so that you know where you can overtake someone and take a position and where not. In general, the situation is similar to Yoru. Neon is a little weak, and even to play Neon somehow, you just need to be used to Valorant. Plus Neon needs some kind of support from agents like Sky, Breach or KO who will throw flashes for you, because if you just run on your enemies without this all, then you'll always be killed without exchange, and that's it. I would not take a Chamber either, because he was debuffed quite badly and it would be inconvenient for beginners to play. Before this Chamber nerfs, you could take risk on it and remain unpushed. Now because of short teleports it will not work, because you will not be able to go far away. Accordingly, we have already cut off the agents that are not complicated, just unnecessary at the start. Again, this is not a tier list, so I don't want to waste too much time on each agent. By the way, the tier list will be released in January, when the split will come back and a new map will be given for us. So Cypher and Killjoy, 2 sentinels. In the performance for beginners they will be extremely difficult, not only because you need to learn setups, understand how and when it will be useful to use, for example how to ult on Killjoy and use all other skills, but also because these agents often play the role of lurker, and this role is clearly not for beginners. Even if you have played shooters before, you need to understand Valorant's timings, and due to the fact that all agents move differently here, it will be not easy at the start. I also brought an Astra and Viper here, 2 very complicated smokers. You need a lot of communication for the Astra, and for the Viper again the study of a large number of lineups plus an understanding of how and when to use a sphere with a wall, because they require fuel, and if you spend too much of this fuel at some point in the round, then it will be a super easy task for the opponent to come to your side. Astra requires communication because she has a camp and a screed that you will never have time to give yourself, so the agents are quite complex. Okay, the next agent is Sova. Sova is initiator, and I think he is one of the most difficult. When playing Sova you need to learn a lot of lineups, and also one thing that is very hard for beginners is his ult, because you need to understand how you use your ultimate, when and where you use it. Plus the danger of the Sova lies in the fact that if it is wrong to drone or incorrectly give reveal, then teammates will not check something badly. They will not check anything at all, thinking that your arrow, for example, checks the entire territory, and this may not be the case. Well, the final agent from this list of difficult ones is Sky. I was thinking about where should I put the Sky, but well, I guess Sky is pretty hard agent, largely due to the fact that her flashes has been changed, and now you cannot give the flash for yourself, or it will be too difficult to do it. The rest of her mechanics seems to be simple, but not the simplest role. And well, Sky flashes are already enough to make this agent feel hard to play. You also need to be able not to die at the execute in order to have time to heal teammates. You need to feel when it's better to give your ultimate, and on the other hand, the Sky Dog, as for me, is simpler than the same drone from Sova. But anyway, Sky is still a hard agent. All previously voiced agents should not be close to you at all, it's just the most likely as the beginner you may be disappointed by these agents without understanding the sense of the game. And yes, I understand that the Sova, for example, is opened immediately, but nevertheless, as for me, it is still a complex agent. Well, now we can move move on to something more understandable and simple. These are still not the easiest agents, but they are no longer the most complex. I would like to start with Omen. Compared to the same Astra and Viper, for example, you do not need to know the lineups to get certain smokes, you can give them quickly and simply. His flash is as clear as possible, it just flies along the trajectory on minimap. However, he is still not the easiest agent, because his ultimate is not so obvious to use, and if you use it at the wrong time, you can really ruin the round for yourself. Next is Fate. Why is Fate is simpler than the Sova, for example? Because her reveal will spot everyone much better, that's it. It's more obvious how this reveal works. His cat is also simple, if someone sees it, it goes to the enemy on its own. Well, it is simply impossible to miss with an ultimate, unlike the same Sova ultimate, for example. The only thing is that it does not always work out to implement a cell, you need to practice throwing it into certain spots where it works most often. And yeah, often this catch is used with the race grenade, it's really good combo. And by the way, the race is also somewhere in the middle here. Race has everything very clear, the only thing you need to master is her satchels, but now it is not something so new, and in general it's not difficult to learn how to fly on satchels. However, ideally not only learn to fly, but also throw them at the enemies during the fights, or throw them at the defusing spike players, for example. Otherwise, anyone can throw a grenade to launch a boombot as well, you just push off the walls at a certain angel, it's so simple. And well, the final agent on this list will probably be unexpected for many, and yeah, this is Jet. I would even put her in a difficult agents, because for me this is a really difficult duelist, and she became difficult when she has been nerfed with her dash, and now you need to choose if you want to risk pressing dash for nothing or you risk dying. There will be no more win-win situation. For Jet as well as the Neon, you need to be move really well, feel the agent, because you will often have to be the first to pick, you will need to dash into the sides, get well from the operator, understand when it is better to spend smokes, and in general I think that Jet is the most difficult of the duelists. Well, if you don't take the stupid Euro. Okay, right now let's move to the easiest agents. The first in this list is Reyna. In general, Reyna is also a pretty useless agent, but she's a kick-ass for a simple one. In fact, you have one skill, this is your flash, everything else opens after you're doing the kills. So if you don't want to get steamed up by the skills, you just take the Reyna. If you kill, you can get overhealed, and so on in the circle. Next, Bridge. It will seem that the agent is not the simplest, but if you think about it, what is difficult for him? He has all the skills as clear as possible. It's just that they also need to be given for teammates, but the difference between a Bridge and the Astra, for example, is that you can give your abilities to yourself. You can flash enemies and pick after with yourself, you can do an ultimate for yourself or leave a breakdown for a spike, you don't need any lineups at all. Again, the entire area of ability is shown on the minimap, so this agent is so easy. A similar situation with Kaio. If the Sober wheel can be captured or thrown in accurately, then it will be hard to do it on Kaio, and even if it happens, you'll still know that a certain part of the territory is empty. The grenade also does not cause problems, for example, throwing it at an anti-rush, plus it hits through the walls, so you don't have to invert anything supernatural either. And I think I don't even need to explain anything about his ultimate, you just press one button and you can forget about all the skills in the game in general. So let's move to the Phoenix. Phoenix is somewhat similar to Reyna probably, but his skills are still a little bit more useful for the team. Yes, even if they are not useful for the team, then at least two skills are allow you to heal yourself, and well, his flashes is probably the ratio of simplicity and quality of the top 1 flash drives in the game. Super clear, super simple, moderately effective, even if you throw it from like close to the wall, so the opponent can see all the curve of this flash, it's still so hard to turn away. With the ultimate, the main thing is not to make a mistake so that you are not getting knifed from behind after you will reverse. Let's move on to the Sage. At first I wanted to put it somewhere in the middle, but I thought, and in fact, what is difficult about Sage? The most difficult thing is to learn how to put walls quickly and clearly, but it is much easier than learning a bunch of lineups, for example. Heal or ice to give for your team teammates are elementary task. Ultimate is also so cool, plus it's also simple. You either wait until your teammate revives or bait him when it's necessary to do a kill to win the round. Everything is very simple with Sage. And finally, Brimstone. This agent, as for me, is generally the easiest in the game. Why the most? Smokes are given simply by clicking on a point of minimap. You don't need lineups, you don't need to throw them first then activate them, you don't need to aim somehow, you just give them with one simple click. This includes ultimate, the same implementation, just as simple. Also, you can throw a CP under your feet for a tie-up or for an execute, 2 opportunities. And well, his Molotov, it burns for a very long time, it causes a lot of damage, there are a lot of applications, you can even learn a couple of lineups if you want, and you will be so happy with Brimstone. Actually, this is the top of light and complex agents I got. Write in the comments who in your opinion is the most difficult and the simplest. Well, that's it for me. Thanks everyone a lot who watched to the end. See you soon. Bye bye.